Here we go. So guys, I just wanted to drop a quick video for two reasons really. One is to talk about next year and what my plans are. But more importantly, I want to just look back really quickly at the kind of return to content in June. Came back in May, but I went on holiday. It was June where we really started. We were at about 1,200 subs at that time. My goal was to get to 1,500 subs by 2K23. I thought that would be quite a big challenge. We're effectively trying to add 20% to the subs that we had. As you can see by looking at the subs, we went way beyond that. So the main point of this video, guys, is to say thank you for your support last year, for all of it. For the views, for the subs, for the comments, for the likes, for the interaction I get on Twitter, for hanging out, for all the content creators that came on the channel and had a laugh when we put videos together, to meeting some of you guys in real life. I hung out with JD Crossover and Clays a couple of weeks ago. I hung out with DBG and IJ Josh this weekend. And that's really going to lead me into next year and what my plan is. So, my plan straight out the gate, guys, is to be patient. That's what I want to start with. When the game drops, everyone's going to be scrambling to get things done quickly, to get ahead, to pump videos out, on all the different things within the game. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to slow burn the game. And I really want to avoid what happened at the start of 2K21 with me, which is that instant burnout because I just came out the gates way too strong, tried to do a bunch of things at once, and completely burnt out to the point where I didn't even want to load up the game anymore. So that's what I'm going to do. Maybe it's some advice for you as well. We're probably going to be 6 to 8 weeks away really from getting that final version of the game. There's going to be feedback initially. They'll drop a few patches, a few changes. And probably around late October, early November, we'll get what we think is the actual final version of the game. Now, one thing to bear in mind coming into next year, guys, is things can change dramatically. And while we're coming into the year and we're looking at the blog that's been released, and probably when the game drops, we're going to look at it as the final version of the game. It definitely won't be. Just a reminder that they didn't even drop clutch time until Season 3 last year, so we didn't play it in the first 2 seasons, and, it probably became the most prominent and important thing that they did all year. So, take it easy. That's what I would do, but like I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it easy for the first couple of months. We're going to slow burn it. We will be making content. So what is the content we're going to be making? Well, it's a couple of things, really. The first thing we're going to do is long-form content. I really want to own this space. I kind of ran away from it. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I ran away from it a couple of years ago. We had the podcast going. It was going really well. Some bigger creators came along and kind of took the concept and ran with it. It's not something I'm bitter about. It's what happens in this community. It just does. I've done tier lists, which I've taken from other content creators. There probably isn't a single content creator that hasn't done something which is borrowing content, including myself. But I want to bring it back. The podcast, to me, was the most fun I've ever had when it comes to 2K. Having Josh and Jaquel with me and us just chatting about the game and building the community that we built, because it was really the community that took it over. Our team wasn't a podcast anymore by the end of it. It was definitely a community of people that just, had honesty and loved the game and just wanted to have very real, unbiased conversations about what 2K is and how we're feeling about the game. And that's really my objective with the podcast next year as well. We want to get big creators on it, but we're not going to do it in the format we did it before. We're not going to kind of showcase a content creator. If you actually look at the analytics of the podcast, it was pretty consistent throughout. We wouldn't have a peak when the guests came on. If you look at the view time, it would be pretty consistent from beginning to end. So I think what we're going to try and do is replicate some of the podcasts where we just had more organic conversations for an hour or two. Josh will definitely be back. I'm hoping Jaquel will play the game, but we're going to try and have a few more people. I think we're going to have between 4 and 6 people on each podcast, which we're going to do each weekend. But the real goal with the podcast, guys, is to kind of bring the community together. That's what we really want to do. I want to make it the best podcast out there. That's all I can do really, is to get our podcast on the map. We're not going to be able to compete with the bigger YouTubers who are doing similar things now. But I believe that as long as we make the best podcast out there, that we make the most engaging content out there, that we have the best conversations for you guys to listen to, that by the end of the year, there is no reason why we can't be the biggest Myteam podcast out there. And I really hope that happens. And if not, the worst case scenario is we just get to enjoy making that content for the year. One of the key things I want to get from the podcast is I just want to bring a bit of rationality back into the community. I think that's what the podcast was really good for. I think since the podcast, we've seen this kind of tribalism in the 2K community, team positive, team negative. We've seen people who are positive being attacked by people who are negative. And we've seen people who are negative being attacked by people who are positive. I think those mindsets are equally as toxic. I'm just going to be honest. I think toxic negativity and toxic positivity, if the end result is we're going to be attacking someone, it's not really what we should be doing. We are at a point now where, you know, content creators are getting attacked because people don't like their content. People are wishing death on people. This is just not what the community should be about. And I'm sure regardless of where you sit on that spectrum, you want this to be the most positive experience it can be. And I think the best way we get there is just through honest conversation. I'm very positive about the game. I think 2K22 was a huge win. Despite the last couple of seasons, I think they just really did a fantastic job. They did a good job of listening and adapting. I am not pro 2K, I'm not anti 2K. I just want to be real about it, and I want to have conversations with people who are equally as real. That if something isn't great in the game, that we can speak about it and talk about it without, you know, repercussions and people attacking us for our views. I just want to get back to normal, rational conversation. I think that's what OurTeam really provided. I don't think it was skewed to be negative. I don't think it was skewed to be positive. We just called everything out as it was. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring that back, and hopefully we can get a bunch of people involved. One key change, guys, is I don't really want to set a parameter for who's going to be on the podcast. So last year, you know, it was obviously, you know, me, Josh, Jaquel. We kind of bring in Jacob, you know, if someone was out. And us three, we'd kind of run the podcast. And then we'd have like one massive creator on the podcast. That is not what I want to do this year. I want everyone to come on the podcast to be about the podcast and to be about the conversation. And we will absolutely have massive creators on the podcast this year. But I want everyone to be on it. I want everyone who has a voice to feature on the podcast at some point. You know, we're going to do probably 50 of them throughout the year. And this probably brings me on to my second thing. I'm going to do like a midweek mini podcast. I'm going to do a WLN basically for the week, every week. I think we're going to do it on Wednesday and probably analyze like Friday through Tuesday content, see what the drops were, and just kind of look back on it and go, right, was this a good week or was it a bad week? So they're the two things we're going to do, but the podcast is going to be the key thing, which is probably going to drop every Sunday. I'm deciding at the moment when we're going to record it. I want to fix the time so I'm not up at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get on someone's time scale in Australia. That's the move. So yeah, podcast every weekend. We're going to do a WLN throughout the week. Those are going to be the two kind of core content that we do, I guess. Outside of that, I will be doing like tutorial simple things to help people get along. I think my channel was built off that. It was built off helping people get the most for the most little effort, and I think we're going to go back to that as a kind of you know, core content mode again this year. Just give the best advice we can give to help you guys get things done as quickly as humanly possible and as easy as humanly possible as well, because that's really what we all want. So that's it, guys. That's what we're going to do. Let me know who you want to see on the podcast. And like I said, it could be absolutely anyone, guys. It could be your mate. It could be a content creator. It could be someone up and coming. It could be someone with 250,000 subs. You guys let me know who you want to see on the podcast. And we'll do our best to get them on an episode throughout the year. The first one will drop the first weekend. I probably will do a reaction video to the game dropping, but it's going to be one of 100,000 reaction videos we're going to see. But what I'm not going to do is just spam video after video saying, right, this is this, this is that. What I will do is drop a couple of helpful videos early on, and then, yeah, we're just going to focus on the podcast for the whole year. So I don't want the key point to get lost, guys. I want to say a big thank you again for last year. Making 2K content is something I really missed in my life when I stopped doing it. And when I came back, you guys welcomed me back immediately as if I'd never gone anywhere. I really appreciate it. I love being back in the community, and I can't wait to spend this year chatting to you guys about this game and go on another, 12 months of a journey, which is NBA 2K, my team. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a lot of highs. There's going to be a lot of lows, especially over the first few months. But we'll see how we come out the other side, and how we feel about this game. We won't really know until the end of the year. Until next time, thanks for watching, guys.